All right, good luck. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another exciting session of the Teens in Action Forum. My name is Chi, and I'll be your host and facilitator for today's session. I'm excited to be here with all of you as we explore some exciting topics and ideas in technology, AI, and innovation. Today's session will be focusing on AI and critical choices. Who is in control? If you're just joining us for the first time, we say a very big welcome to you and would like to let you know that Teens in AI is a multi-award winning social impact initiative that was launched at the United Nations AI for Good Summit back in 2018. Our mission is to empower the next generation of AI leaders and innovators. And over the years, we've reached more than 20,000 young people across 101 countries worldwide. That's so exciting for us. Today's session is in partnership with Sage, an organization that's committed to inspiring a new era of AI leadership. And together, we're paving the way for more young people to make a difference in AI. Before we get started, we have some exciting news for you. And at the end of this workshop, we'll be sharing discounts and revealing our latest courses and events. If you're passionate about AI and would want to take your skills to the next level, this is an opportunity you don't want to miss. Stay tuned and we'll share all the details at the end of this session. Now let's get right into it. Today's session, we'll be learning about the intersection between AI and cybersecurity, the risks of over-reliance. We'll also learn the role that young people have to play in ensuring that technology remains fair, safe, and human-led. And of course, you have the opportunity to ask your questions, share your feedback, and also your thoughts as well. Before we dive in, we'd like to let us know how we're going to work today so that there is no confusion at all. We would like you to keep an open mind and be curious. Do not hesitate to share your ideas. This is a judgment-free zone. Respect everyone's opinions and let us keep our discussions positive and constructive. And of course, we'll make sure to wrap up on time today. Now, I'm excited to introduce our speakers for today's action forum. I'm excited to introduce Joseph and Andra. Joseph is a cybersecurity leader and a former US Army Green Beret who is now shaping security strategy and innovation at Sage North America. Off the clock, he's all about adventure, creative problem solving, and sparking big conversations with the next generation about technology, ethics, and their own potentials. And also, Andrea joining him is a principal application security specialist at Sage. She has over 7 years of experience in application security. She implements the DevSecOps, conducts assessments, and creates secure coding guidelines for software, AI, and for ML teams as well. She co-leads the Open Worldwide Application Security Project in London, where she delivers workshops that empowers developers to build secure software. Together, everyone, you can use your emojis. Let's say a big welcome to Joseph and Andrea, and let us begin. Over to you, Joseph and Andrea. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you, Chi.
Thank you so much.
I'm going to try to share my screen. Hi, everyone. Perfect. So here we are. Right. So thank you for the very warm welcome. I'm looking forward to all the questions from the audience. But yeah, let's get started. As Chi mentioned, we're going to start talking about some principles that guide AI security and everyday decisions that have to do with this technology. But to begin with, I'd like to start by telling you why we should all care about this. It's not just a set of slides. It's not just about technology. AI is about making decisions. Every time an AI system gives a grade, for example, or approves a loan or flags suspicious activity on your email account or in a financial setting, it's actually making a choice that affects real people. So this is why these principles matter. They help us and guide us in building AI that is safe, fair, and secure. So without principles like these, we risk building systems that are untrustworthy, or biased. And that can impact people's jobs, money, and even their future opportunities. Even when we're talking about business AI, so accounting software or financial systems, these decisions still touch real lives. If an AI makes a mistake, it's not just numbers on a screen, but it's actually someone's livelihood or reputation at stake. So principles aren't optional, as we've noticed. They're the foundation of building secure AI. And this is why I'm going to talk you through 5 of the most important ones. So the first one is all about transparency. The first principle is transparency. This means AI should show its work. We should be able to see how it got to a specific answer, to a specific result, not just see the final result. Think of it like maths class. If you hand in your homework with only one answer written down, your teacher will probably say, show me the steps, show me your thinking. How did you get to that? AI needs to work in the same way. In business, this is also really important. If an AI system says this loan is too risky or this expense looks suspicious, companies and customers need to understand why. Otherwise, people won't trust the system, and trust is everything when money and jobs are on the line. So transparency isn't just about seeing inside a black box. It's about building confidence that AI decisions are fair and reliable. Second principle we can talk about is fairness. AI shouldn't play any favorites, shouldn't pick favorites. Think about school, again, very similar situation. Imagine if you have a grading app that gives higher marks to students from one neighborhood over another. That would feel very unfair, wouldn't it? The same thing can happen in business. If an AI system is used to decide who gets a loan or who gets called in for an interview, it could carry hidden biases based on the data it was trained on. So we all know that ChatGPT, for example, was trained on a lot of Reddit data. That means it might unfairly favor some people while excluding others, even when they're just as qualified. So this is why fairness checks are critical. AI must be designed and tested to treat everyone equally and to be as objective as possible, no matter people's backgrounds or experience. In everyday terms, if we wouldn't accept bias in school, we definitely shouldn't accept it when people's careers or financial futures are on the line. The third principle is all about security, protecting data as if it were your own. In this case, think about your phone. If you left it unlocked at school, anyone could grab it, look through your messages, or even maybe post something embarrassing. Once that privacy is gone, it's very difficult to get it back. It's the same with AI systems. If they're not secure, sensitive information like medical data, salary information, personal messages and emails could be exposed and misused. In business, security is a baseline. Companies use AI in payroll, human resources, finance, all the places where this kind of mistakes and leaks can directly impact people's livelihoods. So before we talk about the moral or life or death situations later in this talk, we need to make sure that AI is secure at this baseline everyday level. Without security, nothing else works. The fourth principle is all about accountability. So humans must remain responsible. Think of it this way. If you borrow your friend's bike, crash it, and then say, well, the bike did it, the bike did the crash, nobody would really accept that excuse. If you were the rider, you're the one who's responsible. It's the same with AI. If a system makes a mistake, maybe it miscalculates payroll, flags the wrong person for fraud, it's not the AI's fault. The people and the company that built that specific system are still responsible. So this is really important in a business use case as well. You can't just blame the technology. Someone has to be accountable for the decisions being made because those decisions impact employees, customers, and people's way of life. So while Joseph will take us deeper into the ethical side of accountability later, like what happens in life or death situations, at this level, this principle is very clear. AI may help, but humans remain accountable and responsible. And finally, human control. Sorry. Um, the fifth principle is all about the fact that AI can advise, but humans make the final call. So think about using Google Maps. It might suggest the fastest route to a specific destination, but you might decide to not follow it. You might want to take the scenic way instead. AI is helpful, but it shouldn't be the driver. That being said, we do live in a world where we have self-driving cars, depending on where you are. So it's still very important to keep an eye on human control. In business, in a business scenario, it's the same. AI tools can analyze data, flag risks, or make recommendations. But people need to review and approve the final decisions, obviously, depending on the criticality of these decisions. The oversight is what ensures that all outcomes are fair, most importantly, legal, and aligned with company values or with people's values. So, yeah, this principle is key because if humans hand over too much control, we risk decisions being made without context, empathy, obviously the subjective side of our nature, or accountability, as we've seen in the principle before. At an enterprise level, it's about oversight in areas like payroll, hiring, but as Joseph will show you next, in moral or life or death situations, the need for human control becomes even more critical. And yeah, that's the set of principles that I wanted to take you through. Again, they are just five out of a long list of principles that can be used to build safe and secure AI systems. So let's have a look at how we handle AI when stakes go beyond business decisions into choices about people's lives and values. So that's where Joseph will take us next. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Andrea. So I'm going to do a quick switch here. Let me know if we have switched screens.
Yep, all good. Thank you.
Oh, all right. It's really great to see everyone. I can't actually see you yet, but it's really great to have everyone here. I'm really happy that there's so many people that are interested, especially folks of your age. You'll be the next generation that is building the more advanced versions of what we have even today. And you'll be asked to do some things that are, at this point, maybe not even imaginable. And so you'll be the generation that pulls these things into the world for us as we continue forward. But control and difficult decisions is something that we faced as long as humanity's been around. And we have artificial intelligence now to help us speed some of those decisions. But are we going to allow certain things to happen because it seems easier and it seems like it's the right path? Or should we make sure that we dig in really deep and that there's a human inside of the loop at all times? So I may ask some questions, and if you'd like to speak up or put some things into the chat, I may ask some rhetorical questions, but I would love to hear, we'd love to see what you're thinking as we're moving along here. So first, what is control? Really, it's the ability to make decisions in some sense. So it's not merely a technological advancement, but it's a profound shift of how decisions are made across all sections of the world, all sections of our life. Um, and the title, right? Who is in control invites all of you to consider the implications of delegating this decision making to machines, because at their core, artificial intelligence is a machine, and it challenges our assumption that AI, that artificial intelligence is neutral. We would love to believe that it's purely neutral, but in reality, it is it is a reflection of the builder, right? And what's introduced to it, what it's taught to highlight and what it's taught to prioritize. And Andrea brought that up when with the ChatGPT example of Reddit is as its primary source, as a big source. I won't say primary, but as a big source of where it got some of its information. So oversight Andrea brought that up, but still it remains extremely core. Despite all of the capabilities, it's extremely essential. And so the core debate here often centers around who is responsible and who's in control when artificial intelligence systems has to make tough decisions. Now, Andrea also pointed the fact that we should always remain in control, but we have several systems that are alive out there today that are actually making and being allowed to make decisions. And she brought up some of those, job hiring, scholarships. There's a whole myriad of things that AI has just been turned loose to make decisions. And it doesn't always give explanation on why or what direction it was going, just that it made the decision. And sometimes people can't really answer to that. A simple example, another example is some banks are allowing their artificial intelligence to make decisions on when and at what depth a person's account could be tagged as being fraudulent. And if it tags it, a human being may not be able to see that immediately, but it's simply tagged and your account's cut off until someone actually goes in to evaluate. Now that's a human being, but until then, you may be cut off from your money, or you may be stuck in a situation where you can't get to it. And those things that the world is still trying to work out, and how does it actually fit as it obviously causes hiccups in people's lives. So what does AI do for us now? Well, it's a powerful processor for rapid and large volumes of data, including extremely complex pattern. It acts as a force multiplier, meaning that it increases our speed and efficiency throughout the world, but also as individuals to move a little bit faster, as it does some of the more mundane things. So, and I tagged it right there, some of the more repetitive tasks that it can be easily trained on, and the answers are very distinct. They're very black and white. They are very polar opposites, the yes or no's and sort of things like that that actually have to be. And then when it comes to cybersecurity, a lot of artificial intelligence is used to help more quickly detect anomalies and detect patterns of where a specific threat actor may be trying to get into our systems. And so the artificial intelligence can start pinging all of these different anomalies throughout the system and start saying, like, oh, these are all coming from the same place. And now we would do that, but it may take us a little bit different. And if it's a low level thing, it may be pushed down to the bottom as far as what a human being may have to evaluate. But if it's a pattern and it's happening, artificial intelligence can actually help us and understand why it needs to be escalated or elevated to a different level. So, what AI cannot do, and I will slow down just a little bit, but AI cannot emulate the human condition. Now, I can't really ask this everyone if everyone understands what those two words mean, the human condition, but I'll just give you a short definition of what that actually means. So the human condition encompasses emotional depth, our moral reasoning, our existential awareness of our world and our lifetime and of lived experiences, as well as those in our own family, because all of us will see something just a slightly bit different. It's going to be our brothers, our sisters, our parents in the same situation, in the same conditions, and my perception of that reality will be slightly different than my mother's or my wife's or my children's, and theirs will be slightly different than mine. And then all of these qualities are rooted in our consciousness and that subjective reality that I just mentioned. So, artificial intelligence, even at its most advanced, operates through this pattern recognition, a logic, and this data-driven inference. So it lacks this sentience, this ability to understand things, and this empathy and this personal experience. And that is essentially what the human condition is. And if we take a half a step forward again and define empathy, the simple version is understanding a person from their frame of reference rather than your own. So experiencing or seeing through their eyes what they may be feeling, how they perceive things, what their thoughts, what's important for them. And from personal experience, part of having empathy is understanding their culture. So regardless of where I've been in the world, that's always been extremely important and very high on the list for me to understand the culture that I'm about to walk into and to respect that culture, to respect their beliefs, their core values, what is morally important for all of them. That is showing empathy towards them and showing respect towards them. Now imagine that artificial intelligence has to take all of those in, all of our cultures and all of our realities and all of our perceptions. And one of the things that falls out of that is that it can't actually emulate some of these things. And I here on the first bullet, AI lacks the ability to grasp abstract emotion. Now, as we're talking about this, I would love for some of you to put in the chat what you think an abstract emotion is. Just give me an example. And I have a couple of there, but what are some other ones? And then we can come back and look at those in the chat and maybe pull them some of them out. Um, so ethical judgment, artificial intelligence can only predict an outcome based upon the data it has, based upon the data that it's been fed. And again, it goes back to if the data has been fed leaning towards one direction, one culture, one people, or one outcome, then even even when it leans towards a singular outcome, when you tell AI that you want it to believe that this is the truth because of the way things are, then it will lean towards that outcome regardless. And it will always predict that outcome. So it cannot imagine the possible, like outside the box, as sort of some people say, to the point of urging you to take risk. What I mean by that is people, human beings can be irrational and do things that are kind of crazy. And that could be to save someone in a life-threatening situation. That could just be, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go start a business, and everyone's telling them around them, their entire family or whoever it may be, their friends or whatever, you're crazy. It's not going to work. But that's probably what Jeff Bezos heard when he started Amazon in his back room there, and he's built this empire now. A crazy, off the cuff thing that may not work, it might work, but it worked. And it might have been irrational for AI at that time. Had it been there, he might have said the projection is that you're probably going to fail. Maybe, but I'm going to try. And that is the difference that we have to bring to this. Now, I can't actually pull up the chat, I don't think. But some of the other abstract concepts, confusion, actually true sympathy, fear, time is an abstract, right? It's only calculated, it's a calculation, but for us, the passing of time can feel different on whatever day it is and however we're feeling. Sometimes we have so much fun, the day just races by, and sometimes days are a little bit slower. So these are concepts that can't really be built and can't really be felt through hard data. So, based upon that, can we ask ourselves, can artificial intelligence make moral choices? So that's a really critical question. And what do we mean by moral choices? So we have a couple of examples, right? Andrea brought those up, a couple legal, medical, employment matters, even combat situations. Misdiagnosed illnesses due to artificial intelligence have actually caused, this actually happened because it was set loose a little bit too much, caused serious impact upon patient health and treatment in favor of another patient. So one patient was favored to get treatment over another, and it was an illogical statement, an illogical decision that artificial intelligence made, but it was made on the data that it got, which was obviously insufficient for the AI to understand the full depth and full spectrum of what the disease processes were at that point. Rejected job applications, systems that were taught to go for highlight personal traits over necessarily true skill sets that would actually answer the job. And that we have seen in different places throughout the world, throughout time over, right? So those things are still happening. And then high stakes scenarios, situations where there's life and death, right? So we could take, there's a natural disaster. AI's got cameras. Imagine this with me. So there's a natural disaster out there, and there's two groups of people, and both of them need to be saved, but who gets saved? So if you were a human being, you might say, well, we can do them both. We'll split our forces and we're going to make it happen. AI may say that person there by themselves is too much of a risk. And we may or may, you only have a 75% chance of making it, but this group over here, less risk. You have a 50% chance of saving them and you'll save more people. What do you do? Again, human beings would probably figure out we're going to save everyone. But if it was left only to artificial intelligence, maybe they would only choose the one group and not risk further loss of life by someone trying to launch a rescue operation. Now, that is clearly something that is imaginary in that sense, in that situation, but we do have artificial intelligence systems that try to calculate the likelihood of success, not just in the real world, but in the military world and in all kinds of industries around the world. So they're set against what is the risk here and how can we win or how can we lose, depending on what that means, right? So all of that to say, we have to ask ourselves, where does it lack and why would it be able to not be able to make and understand what these things are? And the biggest thing is that humans are illogical. And that's where it leaves us, right? So it requires all forms of empathy, cross-cultural literacy, and this lived human experience. So it's a true value-based reasoning, and that's what we have, sort of. But true moral clarity emerges. It doesn't come out of an algorithm. You can't predict what one person's going to say and what one person's convictions are when it comes to a specific situation. Because we're all messy and we're imperfect, and that's what we are. And that's what makes us where we are. And that's what's given us the ability to create these innovative things, including the creation of artificial intelligence. And at some point in history, everything said that the world was flat. And then it changed and our perceptions changed. If we had artificial intelligence then, it would have been taught that the world was flat. It would have maybe never considered anything, any other data, any other perception, any other details. It just would be flat because it wasn't taught, it didn't experience, it hadn't traveled, and it would have to be retaught. So these elements will remain unevenly distributed. And what I mean by that is I go back to what I said about the cultures of the world. All of these cultures are different. What's important to them is different. What's happening in each one of your nations is different. And the way that that message gets out to the world is going to be filtered, is basically what it is. That's an easy way to say it. So if something is happening in my city right now, that message isn't, the truth may not always get all the way away. Pieces of the truth will be carried away, and it'll be based upon what that person believes. And the next person will believe they saw the situation differently, and then they will carry a different message. And the world gets all this different and conflicting pieces of what's going on. And so it would be impossible or nearly impossible for AI to understand all of these perceptions and to make a grounded decision on what is the best way or what is the best way to deal with this particular situation. So all of our flaws for what they are, they're not weaknesses, and we shouldn't try to erase the way we think about things. We just need to be stronger about it. And so these flaws and this human experience that we have is the challenge that I'm throwing back right back at you guys, right? Don't think of it as a weakness necessarily. Think it as this is all building material. This is all things that will become wisdom, things that you can transform into a courage and your moral growth. Because it's why our illogical thinking is kind of a superpower. So our innovation, it's the breakthroughs that come from our irrational persistence, our unwillingness to quit, our wild ideas that just come out of nowhere and we can transform those into great things for people around the world. If you look at leaders, great leaders, they make crazy moves, bold moves. They defy what some people would say conventional kind of logic. Humans can override their logic, and I've mentioned that to protect other people or to show mercy or to uphold justice. Sometimes it doesn't make sense to risk your life to go for something, and someone may tell you don't do it, but inside you have that conviction you're not going to stop trying until it's done. And that's how we take care of each other. And then resilience, our emotional drive is what fuels this endurance, our willingness to never stop, our willingness to continue to learn. And at sometimes some logic would say it's illogical for you to keep doing what you're doing, but you're on your path to winning. And as long as you can do that, you'll be great, right? So seeking the truth, and then we'll get into the workshop piece. So master the art. So we have this, we all possess this imagination, and we all draw from our lived experience and the experience of others, this intuition and this creative foresight. And all of you here that are interested in artificial intelligence, I'm sure, are quite creative. And your mind is always racing, and your mind is always thinking of new things and new capabilities and what the future holds for us. And this is a hallmark of true artistic and strategic information. And just remember, this is sort of my point here is it's not just knowing data. It's not just knowing things out of a book. It's not just recycling or reciting information. It's allowing that curiosity and that artistic side of you to come out and think of things that have maybe never been thought of, or directions and new plans and new things that have never been created in this world. That's quite possible, especially with all of this that's happening in AI. And it blends with this fresh, innovative to shape new decisions, strategies, and visions for the future. So, how do you do that? Open-mindedness. Just remember, embrace having an open mind, embrace understanding of critical thinking, and challenge these assumptions. If you hear something, it's okay to challenge it. Even if it's from a very authoritative source, it's okay. And sometimes it's important to, oftentimes. Check and then double check. And then it'll help you understand and grow and become better critical thinkers. So challenge your own beliefs. What is it that I believe? Challenge them. Am I actually right? Or have I just fallen into this pattern because everyone else seems to think that this is the truth? Sometimes it's not the truth, or sometimes it's not the truth that you need. So listen to opposing beliefs. Listen to things that make you uncomfortable. Talk about them without emotionally getting engaged with it, but talk about the other viewpoints in a reciprocal sort of conversation. And then you take it and you'll understand, you'll start seeing this new information start being bubbled up to the top. So I ask the last thing here before we get into the workshop. Just remember, artificial intelligence is flawed, just like we are. And it's flawed because we're the writers. And the only way to make it better is to keep it under control with what we feed it and be as neutral as we possibly can with what we give it to work on. And never, I would say, never just set it free to make massive decisions all by itself. And we have artificial intelligence that's being used in many different ways, and humans are in control, but it's also to feed back information. And so we have a lot of ethical things and a lot of understanding of how AI is being used for us and sometimes against us. And we have to make sure that we can help balance that back out. So where it's actually working with us to protect us. So I don't have anything else for you at this moment on this particular section, but when we get into these next questions, maybe we will have an opportunity to continue to talk about them.
I think there's one small point that I'd like to add. Your last slide made me think of this. So we were talking about the fact that you see some information, don't just trust it, don't just believe anything that you hear or is being said to you. So you just check. That kind of ties directly to an underlying characteristic of generative AI, as you might have seen or heard. They're called hallucinations. So you go to your favorite AI chatbots and you start talking about various things and asking it for information. It's going to be very happy to give you any kind of information you're looking for, even if it doesn't make any sense and even if it's not real. So that is something to keep in mind whenever you interact with a non-human source. And we also spoke about how the fact that we're subjective and the fact that we have all of these emotions is very important. That's what makes us human. What I wanted to say there was we are not logical beings that feel, we're actually thinking beings that are trying to think logically. So when you put together this subjectivity of the human nature with the data or the information from an AI source, that's when you can get a more holistic picture of the decision you're trying to make.
100% agree. It's a mutually supporting relationship when it comes to artificial intelligence and us. Thanks for sharing that. That's good points.
All right, thank you.
So we're going to move on. We definitely have, let me move here. Let me see.
We have a couple of questions. I can take the first question because it's really interesting. I've seen the second one as well, but maybe we want to do questions at the very end, right? We first do
Yes. Yes, the questions will be at the very end. So we'll just go right into the workshop. So we're going to use the polls now to get the answers before we go into the open-ended discussion. All right,
Perfect.
thank you. Okay, so everyone will be launching the polls and we want you to interact and give us your answers and then we continue in this section. So I'm doing that right away. Okay, we have a few seconds to go over that. There are 4 questions and we'd like to get your answers. So I'll give us 1 minute to go over all 4. And while we're at this, if you have any questions, please use the Q&A section at the bottom of your screen to type in your questions so that once we're done, we can start taking the questions. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, we're counting down. Counting down. Oh, and okay, so let's go over. Okay, so the poll has ended now. Yes, and for the polls, it's important to know that there are no wrong answers. We just want to get your opinion on what you think. Remember, we're just trying to know what everyone thinks about AI and the choices and decisions and how we humans also would help in shaping it as well. Okay. So Andrea, Joseph, we have our answers in.
So let's see. Let's start at the top really quick then.
Okay.
Graded your exam, but it didn't explain the grade, the motivation behind it. Would you
Oh,
accept it? Oh,
Joseph,
I'm
I
sorry.
think someone didn't manage to get the pop-up for yeah, there we go. So we can get answers in the chat as well if by any chance you didn't get the question. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you. Okay. So the
So
first question on the poll is if an AI graded your exam but didn't explain the grade or motivation behind it, would you accept it? From here, I can see most people said no. And a lot more people said only with an explanation. So I wish someone could just unmute themselves to give us why they said no or why they said only with an explanation. And if you also think it's yes, just let us know why. Okay, someone in the comment section says, I won't trust it absolutely. Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you?
I'll give you another situation. What if it were a maths test, right? A maths exam where, let's say, subjectivity isn't necessarily something that you can introduce unless there was no way to maybe code this AI grading solution to think of all the possible ways of arriving at a specific answer.
Yeah, please keep your answers coming. We're waiting,
So I think that
waiting.
while we're waiting, I would agree with everyone on the only with an explanation, and here's why. Even if it was a human being test grading my test, I would want to understand what I missed and why I missed it. And therefore that otherwise there's no way for me to
Right.
truly be able to improve myself.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Gabriella says, I wouldn't trust it because what if the AI makes a mistake? Then I wouldn't even know why I missed anything, just like you said.
Oh, that's right. Good job, Gabriella.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so we're going to the second question. If an AI decided who got a scholarship or job, would you trust it to be fair? A lot of people said yes, and a lot more said no. So, yeah, just let us know what you think.
If someone said whoever said yes, are you able to make a comment?
If you answered yes to this question, can we let us know why you would trust it to be fair? Okay, someone says yes because AI is kind of smart. Okay.
That should be a good reason. Just remember this though. AI,
Yeah,
artificial intelligence, will make the decision based upon what it's taught to make the decision on. So, if some characteristics are unfairly um, heavy in its decision-making process, then it will always make a decision towards those characteristics. Whether they're fair, genuinely equal or not, it will make the decision in that direction. And that it's just the bias of the builder. Just remember, it's as flawed or as accurate as the builder that wrote its code and its direction
exactly.
knowledge. So that's really incumbent upon all of you in your building to keep that out as much as possible.
So someone said, I think it would be fair because AI doesn't have a mind of its own, so it can't be biased. Okay, so here's the situation that I can present to you, and this is a real thing that happened. Let's say you have an AI system, an AI camera, AI related system, and in a camera in an airport that decides who should be simply allowed to enter a country and who should be taken aside and questioned further. Why are you here? What are you working on? Who are you working for? And so on. And that specific system is trained on that one country. Okay, imagine that one country has, as Joseph mentioned, you said something about a specific people, a specific country, a specific culture. If you only train your system on that set of people, whenever it sees something different, it will raise alarms, bells and alarms, and say, oh, this is not something I know of, or this is something that I think should be flagged.
Right.
So as this is what we mean by it doesn't have a mind on it of its own, but it can be biased because of the data you've given it to make the certain decisions that it can make.
That's right.
Exactly.
And if it comes to a scholarship, if it's trained and told, no matter what happens, regardless of how good grades are, regardless of how much a person is put in, we will absolutely have 50% men, 50% women to get a scholarship, no matter what. And maybe that's wrong. Maybe women have eclipsed all the male candidates when it comes to that, and they should be more scholarships given to the women because they, on their merit and on their capabilities, they've earned them better more. But if we start splitting things and just giving it arbitrary 50%, then that becomes biased because it becomes unfair, and the people that actually have the credit and have the ability to do it aren't getting a shot simply to maintain the numbers.
Exactly. That's where you need that extra control level. Also, there's another question from David in the chat. There's like a two-part question. It's really interesting. The first one is it possible for people to protest against the integration of an AI? You can't really protest against a company integrating AI into their products. Obviously, you have competing products on the market, so you could choose a different product. Anytime an enterprise chooses to use AI in one of their products, I know that at least in our case, we let people know. We gather feedback, we gather as much information as possible on the specific use case. I mean, I'm assuming everyone would do this, right? You're in a constant feedback loop with your customers. So there are features that you can use which don't contain AI, or you can just choose something else.
Mhm. And another point there is that's all right. That's one thing that you can do. You can't, right? You're right, Andrew. You can't really protest it. You just don't use it. Then
Yeah.
it comes down to personal choice. Now, something that companies can do, right, is hyper focus their artificial intelligence to do specific tasks. If it does accounting, then its job in the world is to do accounting. And you can make it faster and more efficient than we are because it's continuously calculating. And you don't really draw the line. I'm not sure how do you draw what you mean by how do we draw the line between letting AI assist us in making sure humans remain in the loop. You make sure that humans are always in control in the critical choices by just not giving the opportunity for the AI to make those critical choices. And if we're talking about it has a specific job, then it's completely trained. You keep humans in the loop by no matter what you think the level of your AI is, how great it is, or how sharp um, and always accurate it is, you're always pulling it, you're always testing it, you're always looking for bugs that get worked, you're making sure it's not hallucinating, you're making sure it's not poisoning itself or someone else didn't poison it. It's a nonstop, always create, deploy the new AI, test it, then do it again. It's a nonstop cycle of checks and balances from the human side against what your machine is doing.
And also the line, maybe a good similarity would be think of crown jewels, right? You have something that you want to protect the most, your finances, your messages. Then you make sure that whatever AI functionality you use doesn't make a final decision on those specific things, on that specific data that you most care about. So that would be how you can split things that an AI can do, repetitive tasks that you can trust it to make good decisions on, and then things that you still need to be in control of.
I like this one. It's kind of a good one. AI is gonna, it says if it promised. So if AI promises you you're safe, are we just gonna take it at face value? People promise things. We don't always deliver. And so it's going to be as private as the maker wants it to be private. And actually, it's kind of funny because I think that we probably have artificial intelligence systems working in the background on every single one of your telephones and mine, right? Technically speaking, watching out for our security, watching out for our privacy. And we want to believe that that's a fact. But like all things, it's a machine and is subject to being hacked in one way or another. There's always someone out there trying to break things.
Also,
You,
system promising to keep something safe. It's the same as the question we had earlier, right? Chatbots are made to be engaging. They're made to agree with you. They're not going to start disagreeing and telling you that you're wrong if you if you tell them a specific thing. So they would say anything.
am I the best? Yes, you are absolutely the best writer. Absolutely.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
if an AI made the wrong medical call and harmed someone, who is responsible?
That's a right.
Yes. So everyone said the company.
So I would like to chime in on that because I would first call the doctor. Ultimately speaking, the doctor is the single point of failure if you are misdiagnosed or you are not properly well treated. He should know everything about your case, forwards and backwards, and be able to double check any diagnosis or prognosis that's been put up against you. And I speak from that from having years of medical training and being an independent provider overseas. I am the only person, I am the break point, or that doctor is the break point of what medical care you're getting. And if he arbitrarily allows artificial intelligence to make a decision, then he's sort of going against his Hippocratic oath to do no harm when he's not, he's allowing things outside his control to make decisions. I would put all blame on the doctor, away from the company. The company's only going to write what it's the artificial intelligence that it was told to write, based upon the data, based upon the medical text, based upon empirical information that it has. But the doctor, hands-on, in person, can see, feel, understand his patient at a level that no one else can. And that goes back to that human connection and these, and if you're close to medicine, then you'll understand there are underlying things that cannot be detected necessarily except through conversation and except through touch and experience and closeness with your patient that an AI will never do because it's only looking for data. And the data that it gets is all whatever the doctor puts in or what someone else puts in. And it's going to make its best possible decision based upon that. You can't blame it if there's data points missing. That's me. Anyone
So
else?
in terms of expertise on this one, right? Because everyone chose the company, and there's another comment in the chat that said, yeah, the company is definitely to blame. So think of the company as the set of developers, the team of developers building the software for this AI. The way they're building it is using data, as Joseph mentioned, that comes from the doctor's knowledge, the books that you can feed into it. But the doctor's knowledge is the key in this specific case. And that's how you know ultimately who it is to blame, who we can blame.
And sometimes, you know, they call it, I'll say this before we go on to this last question, but it is called the practice of medicine because medicine is forever changing. The understanding of the human body is always evolving. And then as the world changes and and how we eat is different and how we interact with the world is different, our bodies change. And how we're going to react is never going to be the same. And we're learning more and more. Therefore, it's the practice. And sometimes doctors make mistakes. And it's not because they're negligent. It's not because they've done anything wrong. They made all of the answers, oh, excuse me, gave all of the answers and made all of the decisions based upon every single human data point that they could possibly come up with. And there's always sometimes nature has its own decision. And sometimes that's a good decision. And sometimes you get this spontaneous, miraculous remission of cancer that nobody can explain. So it goes in both directions sometimes.
And yeah, agreed with the last comment as well. Yes, you have this is the sort of area, medicine, where you need various levels of experts to check both the system that the AI is working on, the AI, the testing, right, that we've just spoken about, test the system, redeploy, test again. So these are the checks that you need to do repeatedly and continuously to make sure that nothing would, in theory, go wrong, or the probability of something going wrong is very low.
The most authoritative books and texts and information directories that doctors use and medical professionals use across the board are updated every single year. So imagine that. Every single year, those authoritative sources are updated with the most up-to-date, accurate information known to humans. So, last question, because we only have a couple minutes left. If it,
Yes.
let's just throw this down in here really quick. But are there situations where artificial intelligence should never be allowed to make any kind of final choice whatsoever, no matter what?
Yeah, let us know your answers in the chat, please. Where should AI never be allowed to make the final choice? If you
Well,
think there's an area that you don't want AI to make any choice, let us know. Okay, someone says in areas where life is involved, I'm guessing health, medicine.
Mhm.
Okay, keep your answers coming. Where should AI never be allowed to make the final choice? We're waiting for your answers.
while we wait, I think I can package an answer to both the very first question and the one that we still have in the Q&A really quickly. So the one that we have in the Q&A is all around where you can't tell the difference between an AI and a person. Think of deepfakes. They have improved so much over the years that it is almost impossible now to tell, which is very scary. Um, yes, chatbots can be coded to, or AI can be coded to seem as familiar to us as possible. So while it can't have empathy and it doesn't understand the human condition, it can be coded to simulate these type of behaviors. And that's where you have chatbots for mental health, for again, doctors, and just taking these kind of large amounts of data and then pushing them to a human to make a specific decision. I hope this kind of touches on both questions because we won't have more time.
No, all of
Yeah.
these are great answers. Combat operations, um, new discoveries, where do we launch, AI, then making, allowing AI to make decisions for itself. Legal concerns, of course, deciding guilt or innocence. Sometimes there's been cases where no, and there's human cases, no AI involved, where people have been found guilty of crimes they didn't commit, and it wasn't until a decade later that the truth finally came out. And that's us making those decisions and putting pieces together and stuff like that now. Then maybe that would increase, maybe it would decrease. We'll never know. We shouldn't know. I agree with justice should be held in our hands no matter what.
But even in
So,
that case, do you think about the fact that, for example, if you present the same justice case to, let's say, 10 judges, if an AI would make a decision based on pure data, it would still not, like the humans would still find a way to come up with different decisions for the
mm,
same piece of information because a human maybe woke up on the wrong side of the bed that day. A human might be hungry. They have different surroundings. So all of these things need to be considered when you have decisions like this. And AI is just purely based on data.
so just remember, your reality is not mine. Mine is not yours. We all have a different view of what the world looks like. AI has the view of the world that we give it, and
Exactly.
it's not universal. So I really appreciate that you have all been here. I know we have a couple of minutes less, but I wanted to give it back to she. And Andrew, do you have anything before we give it back?
No, all good. Great questions. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much, Andrea, for this session. Thank you so much, Joseph. Just before we end, we'll just like to take maybe one or two questions because we're almost out of our time. So I'll start the first question that I can see here. Thinking of future jobs that are classed as high skill or high rewarding today, and considering we may not be able to rely on AI choices 100%, a human may still have to validate AI recommendations. In your opinion, will the role of that human validator be a more junior job than it is currently?
That's a really good question.
Yes.
Maybe. So the way I think of it in my current job is if an AI can help with repetitive tasks, then we would need someone slightly more junior to oversee that. And then people with more experience or more knowledge on a specific subject can then just spend their time doing the known low-hanging fruit, right? Thinking of, I don't know, strategy or planning th based on their entire experience. I don't know if that helps answer part of it at least.
Got it. I would think it not being such a junior job because now I have to have someone that's capable of articulating why their opinion and answer is better than the artificial intelligence's decision. You need someone smart and savvy and well versed on what is happening in there, I think. That's interesting, though.
All right. Thank you. So I have the last question. So this person says, based on everything that we've learned today, how do you feel about agentic AI, where humans aren't necessary, where they can autonomously deliver on tasks without human intervention or guidance?
That is an amazing question. That is
Yeah.
what I work on every day.
I think that remember that the agentic AI is the sum of its parts. So we have an obligation to make sure each of those parts is properly built. And that way, when it interacts with itself, it's properly built and it's properly tested. And we should never stop testing it, never stop challenging it, and never stop and never and ever begin thinking that this is running so well we just let it go on its thing. We should assume that there may be something wrong. We have to have that curiosity to go out and chase those things and bugs and poisoning because you never know. Humans are humans. They may have a bad day and they may poison it. And then that downfalls one agent that's poisoned is the detriment to the entire agentic system. So
Okay, so I have this very last question that's in the Q&A before we end. What if AI were to study and understand human patterns, and in the programming, the AI starts to adjust to human activities? Doesn't that mean that AI could act human-like to a point we can't tell the difference between humans and AI? And how can a person be 100% sure that the information that it gives us is what it wants us to believe and that it is correct?
That's exactly why I was mentioning deepfakes earlier. And
yeah,
the bots and these kind of things are now built with incredible technology at its base. So it's very difficult to tell. And I think this ties with the absolute last question in the chat as well. What threats does AI pose to our future generation and how can it be curbed? Don't over rely on it. That's the most important thing. Don't over rely on a video message or a video or a call that you get. If you're not sure about something, check with another human being. Don't over rely on the information it gives you. Go and double check facts and make sure that whatever you see written on the screen is reality.
just treat it the way you would treat another person. Do not
Great.
trust it. Well, it goes back to what I said before. Seek the truth. Challenge your not just your beliefs, but challenge the beliefs of others. And listen to the opposing views. You can take that information in, but don't ever just take it as ground truth. Not so treat AI when it comes from information. Treat it as you would treat me or Andrea or anyone else. Maybe they're right, but maybe they're partially wrong. But you'll never know if you don't chase down the answers and seek the truth and then develop these new ideas. So that's where you need to go and turn this thing into an art, this chasing of the truth, this mastering of how I build things and what am I trying to build and critical thinking. So it's a great answer, great question.
Thank you so much, everyone, for your questions. Thank you, Joseph and Andrea, for joining us on this very amazing session. I sure did learn a lot, and I'm sure everyone is leaving with one or two things added today. So everyone, we want to say a very big thank you for joining us today for this incredible session of the Teens in Action Forum. It's been inspiring to see your enthusiasm and engagement as we explored the intersection between AI and cybersecurity and how we all can shape a future where people remain in control. We hope you're living with new ideas, insights, and motivation to dive deeper into the world of AI and innovation. Before we wrap up today, we'd like to share some amazing opportunities for you to continue to learn with Teens in AI. As a special thank you for being here with us today, you can enjoy 20% off our courses, and then you can use Teens in AI October at checkout. And we're also excited to announce that we have a new course in partnership with Sage. You can check this out by visiting our website at learn.teensinai.com. There are other courses for you to explore as well. I would like to invite you that if you're passionate about driving impact in your community, please sign up to be a local ambassador for the 2026 IWD Global Campaign. And as a reminder as well, if you're 16 and older, we ask that you join our alumni community today. Once again, we'd like to remind you that Teens in AI, our mission is to empower the next generation of responsible AI leaders and innovation. And we need your passion and creativity to make this vision a reality. So stay curious, keep learning, and remember that the future is in your hands. Thank you once again for your energy and participation. We look forward to seeing you at our next event, our future workshops, and our global teams in AI community. Until then, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you so much, and goodbye, everyone. Thank
Bye.
you.
All right.
Hi, has everybody except Teens and AI been removed from the call?
I think I added
It sure says.
Seeker as a. She's still here. Okay, nice. Welcome.
All right, so Ori, how do you feel? Well done. You made it out alive.
Thank you so much, everyone, for helping out. Oh, God.
Oh, you must be so relieved, Ori. I
I
understand how
am
your
really
heart
relieved.
feels. But well done. You did an
Thank
excellent
you.
job in your first event, and I'm so proud of you. Well done. Well
Thank you
done.
very
You
much,
now feel
Claire.
like you're an old pro at it for next time.
Thank you.
Well done. Chi, how did you feel that went? I actually loved the way that they posed questions, didn't you?
Yes, I did. I actually did.
Like the poll, I think that's actually a great way of almost doing a Q&A. It really does create that buzz and engagement, doesn't it? I quite like
Yes, it
that.
actually does. I
We're
think we should actually talk to other speakers to use
live.
that method.
We're
Can't
still
hear
live.
you, Milana.
We're still live on YouTube. Please, can we stop the live recording?
No, I paused the recording, but am I supposed to like stop the live because it's still at the back. She's still speaking on YouTube.
I can still see it on YouTube right now.
Can stop it, it will catch up.
Okay.
Yeah. It's lagging, that's why.
No, I still see it as live.
Catch up, it's lagging.
Remy, I'm not sure that that's accurate because I can actually see us all on the screen right now on YouTube.
Yeah, it says that we're live. I can see it as well.
Oh, let me confirm here.
But the good thing is that that says only 5 of us watching, which is us. The good thing is that that says only 5 of us watching, which is us.
We are still live. Or have you stopped it? Or have you stopped recording?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do.
Oh, I told you to stop it. It will catch up. All this conversation is being repeated.
Hey, give me a sec.
We are still live. All right, have you stopped it? All right, have you stopped recording?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do.
Oh, I told you to stop it. It will catch up. All this conversation is being repeated.
Hey, give me a sec.
We are still live. All right, have you stopped it? All right, have you stopped recording?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do.
Oh, I told you to stop it. It will catch up. All this conversation is being repeated.
Hey, give me a sec.